So it just got announced that Ryan Garcia will be making his return to the ring at RIZIN in Japan, where he'll be facing Rukiya Anpo on the Japanese New Year celebration card. Now, this of course is going to be an exhibition fight. According to ESPN, it's going to be 8 2-minute rounds, and it will impact neither Garcia or Rukiya Anpo's pro records, because it can't even be a pro bout in the first place since Ryan Garcia is still suspended until April of 2025, because he tested positive for Austrian in his bout against Devin Haney. Now, a lot of you who clicked on this video might not know who Rukiya Anpo is, so I'm very quickly going to explain his record. Rukiya Anpo is a kickboxer first and foremost, being the former K1 Super Lightweight Grand Prix champion. However, he was dissatisfied with how much he was getting paid at K1, so he left in 2023 and has been fighting in RIZIN and Mikuru Asakura's Breaking Down promotion ever since. During his tenure in RIZIN, Anpo has mainly been taking fun fights and a couple exhibition bouts. In his RIZIN debut, he fought the legendary Buakaw Banchamek, considered by many to be the best Muay Thai fighter of all time, in a kickboxing bout. Although Buakaw was in his 40s at the time, and this fight was ruled a draw, it's still pretty alright in hindsight when taking into consideration how Buakaw would later go on to brutally KO Minoru Philip Kimura, who is a former K1 Super Welterweight champion, and a notorious steroid cheat a year later. Anpo's other bouts in RIZIN include a loss in MMA via rear naked choke to another former K1 champion, Yuta Kubo, and most recently a boxing exhibition bout with Manny Pacquiao, which Anpo took on short notice. This fight was obviously against an older version of Manny, and the fight was ruled a draw because it went the distance. However, Anpo looked alright in the bout, landing some clean shots on Manny. And, fun fact, in the lead up to Rukiya Anpo's bout with Manny Pacquiao, Anpo sparred Sean Strickland, who was here in Japan on vacation. The entire sparring session is up on Anpo's YouTube channel, and it's definitely worth checking out. Now, as for the fight between Anpo and Garcia, will Ryan Garcia win? Probably yes. However, is this fight going to be fun? Certainly yes. And while this fight is being organized based mostly on name value, it's nothing like the Paul and Tyson fight, which took place just a few days ago. While Anpo is significantly larger than Garcia, standing 4 inches or 10 centimeters taller, Garcia is 3 years younger than Anpo. In terms of matchmaking for an exhibition bout that takes place purely for fun, this is the best you're going to get, which I'd like to applaud the RIZIN matchmakers for doing. As opposed to the Tyson-Paul fight, everybody wins here. Garcia is going to get some time to warm up with an exhibition before his suspension is up, Anpo is going to get paid really well, and this fight is likely going to be reasonably competitive when considering the skills and physicality of the two fighters involved. Now don't get me wrong, Garcia is probably going to win. I would think that Garcia will KO Anpo, but still, Anpo knows his way in the ring. You know, he's not like a Ben Askren or even a Tyron Woodley. Like, Anpo Rukiya is a legit striker. And this kind of leads me to my rant about these exhibition bouts. Personally, I think that they're an inevitable result of social media and celebrity culture. Since the wider public really doesn't have any genuine interest in martial arts as a discipline or as a sport, and instead just want to see two famous people wail on each other. However, when it comes to these bouts, there's like levels on how awful they are for both the audience and the integrity of combat sports as a whole. Say what you will about the Mayweather and McGregor fight, but both of those guys are trained strikers with good technique that have achieved great things in their respective sports, and were both in or not so far removed from their primes. The same applies to Garcia versus Anpo, which has two strikers in their athletic primes going at each other for the purpose of making money. This could also be said, albeit to a lesser extent, about Pacquiao versus Anpo as well, considering how Pacquiao was fighting for world titles just 3 years before he fought Anpo, and has kept himself somewhat in shape since retiring from pro boxing. Also add here that the fight between Manny Pacquiao and Rukiya Anpo is also what led to the fight between Ryan Garcia and Rukiya Anpo being made, since during the fight between Manny Pacquiao and Rukiya, Ryan Garcia came to Japan and watched the fight. And after he watched the fight, Ryan Garcia was like, "Hey, why are you trying to knock out Manny Pacquiao? I'm going to step in and teach Rukiya Anpo here a lesson." What's truly horrible about the Tyson versus Paul match, and why I believe it has been the most damaging to combat sports out of all of these exhibition bouts that have taken place so far, is that it was not a fun fight. The point of having these exhibition bouts is not to determine who is the best, but to put on an entertaining show for the audience, regardless of the outcome. Besides the ethical concerns of putting a near 60-year-old in the ring with a young juicehead, the greatest sin of Tyson versus Paul was that it was boring. Combat sports, at least to me, are the most exciting sports in the world. Nothing else comes close. The tension you feel when watching two of your favorite fighters go at it is it's like nothing else. So when you're watching something like Tyson versus Paul, you end up wondering, why the hell did I watch something like this in the first place? And in my case, I did not watch Tyson versus Paul. I was actually at work, and I just looked up the results on Twitter, and apparently everybody told me that both the Netflix stream sucked and the fight itself sucked. So I haven't gone back and watched it. I just know that the fight was bad. All right. And this leads me to what I like to call the namification of combat sports. Due to the way social media works and how you need certain keywords and names to have your content promoted in the algorithm of these various social media sites, I think we can expect more and more combat sports events to be headlined by increasingly old fighters who are established names, since those established names not only are more well-known to the public than some young up-and-comer, but are already in the search algorithms of various social media sites like YouTube and Instagram. Hell, although my own personal YouTube channel is quite small, I'm fully expecting this video to get thousands of views because I've included big names like Mike Tyson, Jake Paul, Ryan Garcia, and Sean Strickland in my title and hashtags. The actual entertainment value of these exhibition fights is going to matter less and less, especially since it doesn't matter if a fight is going to be entertaining or not for it to get boosted in the algorithm. All it needs is big names, which is at odds with the very reason behind why we have these exhibition bouts in the first place. But yeah, hopefully the Tyson versus Paul fight didn't make as much money as they wanted it to, because if it did, we're going to be seeing more of that slop in the future. Finally, I'd like to say thank you again to the RIZIN matchmakers for putting together an exhibition bout that will probably be somewhat entertaining, actually. I'll 100% be watching this fight, and hopefully I'll be doing so in person.